What's going on, y'all? How's you guys' day going? Hope you're having a good day. My day's good. Thank you for asking. I finally get to nerd out about all of my favorite YouTubers. If you're unfamiliar with what this video is going to be about, basically going to be any other tier list kind of video. I'm basically just going to rank all of the YouTubers that I either am familiar with or that I grew up watching. Not so much YouTubers in general. It's all just going to be the same. So if you're an A, you're A and that's it. There's not going to be like A and then like, oh, this guy's slightly better than the A and then this guy's slightly better. I'm definitely not going to do it like that, because if I did, it would take me too long, because I already know that I'm going to want to explain every single thing about every single YouTuber. But anyways, let's get it started. Start with S. So first up, we have Cozdef TK. Gotta be, man, he is very, very, like, I don't want to say tied, because I don't like tying. I like being objective. He's got to be second place in my opinion in terms of my S tier. Like of my, if I had to put it in a, what is it, Mount Rushmore? My Mount Rushmore of YouTubers, he is up there, man. Cozdef is an OG. He's been doing YouTube forever. He's way too funny, bruh. Way too funny, and he's underrated as hell. He plateaued so fast simply because of YouTube. It literally isn't even his content that made him plateau. It was how YouTube changed. Because if you don't know who he is the pioneer of trolling. I cannot stress to you enough how funny his older videos used to be. And of course, they got deleted because of the time that they were in, right? This is Black Ops 2 era. And so the people that he was trolling weren't nice about the way that they felt about him. And so they would say very dirty, nasty, naughty things, bad word, no words that you can't say anymore. And so naturally he had to delete a lot of his older videos. He was meant to troll. Like when you think of people that are meant to troll, or people that are exceedingly well at it, he is up there 1000%. And so the next one to follow up trolling in the S tier would be Xbox Addictions. One of, again, OGs, man. It makes me smile so hard just thinking about all of the videos that I used to watch of him trolling. And people might get mad, people might get upset, but he used to troll little kids on Minecraft. And it was, believe it or not, there was a community, man. There was. It wasn't popular, but there was a community of people who would troll little kids on Minecraft and upload it. And I'm sorry, it was funny. It was hilarious, bro. Very similar to Cozdef, he plateaued. But he didn't just plateau. I think his channel, if I remember correctly, his channel got taken down and he had to make a new one. But of course, it isn't as popular, unfortunately. But man, if you know who Xbox Editions were, bro, man, that was a time. That was a time to be alive. But anyways, on to the next. Next S tier YouTuber that I can think of is Nova, aka Uber Haxer Nova. He doesn't like being called Uber Haxer Nova, so I'll just refer to him as Nova. But not only just him, I'm gonna include everyone that he was associated with, just because it's kind of like it's basically the same thing as thinking of tomatoes and not associating ketchup. You know what I mean? And so anyways, I'm gonna include Immortal HD, The Creatures, and Cowchop. He's always kept it real. He's always been himself no matter what. Same thing with Immortal HD. Again, like I said, I'm adding him onto that because they're literally like neck and neck, like the same exact. Like they are quite literally birds of a feather. Like they go hand in hand. Equally hilarious. Some of the most just organic, man. Some of the most organic people. On to the next, Spoon, just by himself. Just Spoon by himself is one of the OGs. Definitely deserves S tier, just as among the rest of these YouTubers. He now plays with the Vanos crew, which also obviously would be in the S tier. But no, Spoon just by himself, just a super cool guy. I've never heard anything bad about him. Never, and obviously I'm not trying to like put him on a pedestal because I don't know who he is like a real person. But he's just so chill. He's just so like, just somebody you can vibe with, it seems like. At least that's what the Vanos crew says. Like they speak so highly of him. And so naturally you would assume that they know a lot about him. Exactly the type of person you would want to hang out with like day to day basically. But anyways, on to the next Vanos crew. That would be the next people, obviously. I don't have to explain this one, right? Like it's pretty self-explanatory why the Vanoss group. Everybody unanimously knows that Vanoss and his group, or maybe not his group, because they say all the time that they don't have a crew. It's just friends being friends. But regardless, they all equally are some of the most just again, authentic, right? Like you're gonna notice a pattern of how I determine who people are in terms of their ranking is more so who it is they are, not just on YouTube, but how they are as a person. On to the next one, GCN. And if you don't know who that is, he basically was, because he doesn't really upload anymore, unfortunately. He was, I think what is it? It's so basically like Gaming Sins, which is a group of YouTubers who review video games, but then they knock points off based upon whatever the video game is doing wrong, right? But I remember him specifically being the most, I want to say, convincing, right? Because he was a bit more of a parody. He didn't necessarily review games like okay, so for example, right? If you watch Gaming Sins, any type of YouTuber like that who is reviewing a game and knocking points and whatnot, they are nitpicky on purpose because that's the point of their channel. But certain channels will take it to the extreme and their reasonings don't even make sense. And he wouldn't just review the game, he would give a little flair, make it a little interesting, right? It wasn't just like, oh, this game sucks because of this and this and this. No, he made it a little bit more convolvulual, right? Like you want to have the conversation with him, so to speak. But what's next? Let's see. YouTube poop. And that goes for any. That goes for any of the, because I can't even remember. I can't remember the specific channels I used to watch growing up, but man, YouTube poop had its era. And it was amazing. It was the original brain rot. If you don't know what YouTube poop is, and if you're older, right? If you're an adult and you don't know what YouTube poop is, you're gonna think I'm such a child, but you have to keep in mind, this is when I was a kid. Like this is when I was 9, 10 years old, or 8, probably more so 8. And you can obviously find YouTube poop now, but it'll never be the same. It'll never be the same as what it once was, right? The original SpongeBob YouTube poop videos. Man, they used to make me cackle so hard just for the dumbest reasons. And it was a time, right? Like you could argue, maybe that shouldn't be on YouTube just because kids are on YouTube, right? Like if we put the same kids of the current generation and we gave them the YouTube poop that we had, it probably would not turn out well, but we kind of got away with it, so to speak. And I know that's not a YouTuber, but I know there are YouTubers out there who specialized in that. And so I had to put it there. I could not. It was just a pivotal part of my childhood. I would be upset if I didn't put this in the S tier. And so on to the next, Let Me Know. And if you don't know who Let Me Know is, he basically does like breakdown analysis, kind of commentary documentaries, basically about a plethora of things. But man, he's up here simply because of the dedication that this dude has to making his videos as good as they are, right? Because look, is it common for YouTubers nowadays to put a crap ton of effort and to make extremely high production videos? Absolutely, right? Like you can find thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of YouTubers who are extremely dedicated, but there's just something about his videos that have always been separate. And not only that, but he was doing that before it was popular, right? He was making high production videos even before it was a common thing to do for a lot of YouTubers. And I feel like he picks really interesting things, because I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the high production YouTubers and videos that I've seen from time to time, they kind of pick topics that are a little flat, in my opinion. They don't really pick things that are all that interesting, or like you could guess a lot of the things that you would end up hearing from these videos, right? And so anyways, yeah, that's not too complicated. It really is self-explanatory. If you know who he is, you would obviously know why. He's OG, high production, very interesting, very soothing voice, right? That's another thing a lot of people like about him. Very soothing voice, very easy to listen to. Even though his videos are upwards of 40 minutes long, you can listen to just a ton of his videos, right? Like back to back to back. He's one of those people that just knows how to speak, knows how to talk. And it's definitely a skill that's lost. And that's what puts him on this list. But on to the next, El Presador. If you don't know who El Presador is, man, I'm about to put you on. This dude, again, OG of YouTube, back when it was just like, again, I know I'm gonna keep saying it, when it was organic, when it was authentic, when you could literally record, like how I am right now, you could record your TV on your phone and upload a video regardless of what it was about, right? Which is exactly what his most popular YouTube video is. It literally is him recording his Modern Warfare 2 gameplay, and he's just commentating on it and being hilarious and being funny and witty and stupid and loud and goofy. And that was what he was most known for, just his like exotic behavior, his exotic personality. And he never ever changed. Never. To this day, you can go find his videos, and I'm talking 2026, El Presador, same exact dude you'll find back in 2011, 2012, right? Like he has never changed, and I love that. I love that about him. Infamous, one of the funniest people on YouTube, dude. If you need something to laugh at and you have a bunch of time and you don't know who he is, please go watch his older videos or even his recent videos. If you had to put a representative for YouTube, he would be perfect. He could perfectly encapsulate what YouTube is supposed to be and what it was like for such a long time. But on to the next, Sam Hyde. Again, I'm probably going to repeat myself a lot. Same exact thing. A bit of a troll. He did a lot of bits, a lot of skits. When you hear the name, you think of so many different things, and that's what makes him so interesting, is the fact that he's just somebody that can do it all. Like, he's kind of like a very versatile person. That's why he's on this list. Let's see who's next. Gotta go with A-Hat. And I'm not expecting a lot of people to know who this is. They aren't extremely popular. They have popular videos, but the channel in of itself wasn't the most popular. If you don't know, it was a battle rap league back in the 2010s, back in the 2011s, 2012. And unfortunately, they got overshadowed by URL, which also is a battle rap league. But there is just something about A-Hat that is so nostalgic that I feel like the URL just doesn't. They made you feel like you were in the room. They made you feel like you were there, like you were actually in the crowd. And the people that they would bring on, they always brought on the best people. They had some of the most interesting, like kind of like underground, if you will, right? Like when you think of battle rappers, you might think of the most famous people. But if you just want to go somewhere where you know that what you're going to find could be anything, right? That's why you go to A-Hat, which is exactly why I love it so much. But anyways, on to the next. The Hodge Twins. Can't forget the Hodge Twins, man. Again, extremely funny. People that you could, again, feel like you're there with them. Like you can listen to them talk about anything. That was their skill, which I know you might be able to say about a lot of people, but they'll never reach the level of Hodge Twins, because that was what they blew up for in an era where that was not popular, right? They literally would record themselves, at least their most popular videos, was recording themselves eating. And sometimes they would just sit there in silence and just chew their food. They never edited it out, never had to put music, never had to do a whole bunch of editing to keep people entertained. Like I could literally sit down on my computer or whatever, you know, playing games, doing anything, right? And if I'm just chilling, chillaxing, put on a compilation video of their funniest moments and just die laughing for 20 minutes straight, because every single one of their videos were legendary. Every single one of their workouts were funny. Every single one of their, you name it, just like they were just like their character, their personality. I immediately think of the next person, Tyler One. Again, another explosive personality, somebody that made you laugh every single video that you watch, even his current stuff, right? Like he never deteriorated, which is something I could say about everybody within this tier list, right? Within the S tier list specifically. They never lost what made them special. They never like deviated from the path. And so that goes for Tyler One just as much. He's always been himself. He's always like, even with the Jinxie collab, right? Like he didn't hold back. He didn't try to change himself. He didn't try to be somebody he wasn't, right? Like and not only that, but like I've said for other YouTubers, he is known for multiple things. He's not just known for League, right? Like that's his most popular thing is League of Legends, but he's known for plenty of other things too. And that's what makes him so cool, is that he can join any group and blend in very well and also stand out, right? Like he's capable of joining something, but also being interesting enough that people want to pay attention to him specifically. Next one I think about would probably be Alan Becker. If you don't know who that is the guy who made Animator versus Animation, one of the most popular YouTube videos of all time, like the top of the top of the top. When you think of all of YouTube, not just animation, but of all of YouTube, he was known. And man, that series had me hooked. Better than any show, better than anything you could think of. I can't express to you. If you don't know who he is, you have to go watch his videos, his original Animator versus Animation videos, where he made the one, the only, the chosen one, man. And I used to be obsessed. I used to be so obsessed with that series, and it made me so sad when it had to end, because obviously everything has to end at some point. It's just not even comparable. He really was the best at it, and he deserves that spot, man. Even though I said him last, regardless, like I said, right, doesn't matter where you are in the tier list, it's all the same to me. If you're S tier, you're S tier. But anyways, let's get into the A tier now. All right, so obviously I can't give the same amount of time that I did for the S tier as for every other tier, and so we're probably just gonna go rapid fire if I want to, or if I feel like I need to, right? Like if somebody deserves a little bit more praise, I might give a little bit more. The first one that comes to mind is like Oni Plays, right? Unfortunately, they don't make as many videos. They don't make the same type of videos because everybody gets so busy and whatnot, but they definitely deserve to be up here in the A tier, right? Where they did all of that they could, and that they were extremely funny, right? During their prime, if you will. And they're just legendary, right? They've been on YouTube for who knows how long. I don't even know how long. I only just recently found out about them, but they definitely deserve that high spot. And so anyways, next person I could think of would be the older version of KSI, not the new version. Unfortunately, I feel like I don't know. He just wasn't the same. Wasn't the same as all. I feel like he lost a lot of his flair. I feel like he lost a lot of his character, a lot of what made him so funny. It seemed like he kind of just became Mr. Cool, Mr. I'm too cool for school kind of guy. But yeah, his original like FIFA montage videos that I remember watching all the time, or just random going in public and talking to people, being a dork, and just all types of stupid stuff. But yeah, if you know his older stuff, you know what I'm talking about. His older stuff was special, man. It just had that YouTube, like that old 2000s YouTube feel to it. And so the next person I think of would be the, again, old Angry Joe show. Now, I've said some things about him before in terms of his reviews. Like, I don't always think his reviews are necessarily the best, but just the quality alone, and the intention and the effort, and I guess just the character that is Angry Joe show, right? Because obviously it's a bit, it's a skit, it's like a gimmick. And so it just felt a little bit more special. I don't know, maybe if it was because it was new for him, right? He's been doing it for a really long time. So I could understand if he said something like, oh, it gets old after a while. But yeah, no, it seems like nowadays he kind of only really does that for like, I don't know, Madden, right? Like if he releases a Madden video, he might like fall into the character, if you will. But yeah, next up, I gotta go with So Close to Toast. I haven't heard that name or said that name in so long, but man, that 2015 beatboxing era was legendary. Classic, bro. Like, I will never forget thinking about all of the just thousands of people who became obsessed with beatboxing, myself included. I became so obsessed with beatboxing because of people like him. And he would just pump out videos back to back to back to back. Some of the coolest, it was just fun. It was just fun back when you could go in game chat and just then do anything, right? Like, the next person I think of is the Do. Same exact thing. Legendary, right? Just go into a Black Ops 2 lobby, start playing music, start playing on your guitar. People will freak out. People will request music. They might request Thunderstruck over and over again, but it was fun. It was interesting. It was unique. It had personality. It had character. But anyways, on to the next. The next person I think of, because I kept talking about Black Ops 2, was Best in Class. Another legendary trolling, kind of funny moments, Black Ops 2 reaction kind of guy, right? Get on the mic and turn on his, mom voice. That's what it was. I almost forgot it. I don't know how. But yeah, he would get in the lobby, start trolling, just being a nerd, being silly, just classic nostalgic stuff, right? Nothing, I guess, like superb in any kind of way, but for the era, right? For the era in of itself, it was legendary. And even his like later stuff, like into World War II, back like when he used to have the voice changer, I remember, and he would hang out with his buddy, and his friend would just laugh at all of his voice changers and whatnot. Classic, right? Like, just funny, cool, wholesome. Maybe not wholesome, but just it brings you back to your childhood, basically, if that's what you grew up with, But next, I think of Blue Drake 42. Man, one of the very, very, very first, because I don't have that good of memory, but I do remember he was one of the very first, probably first 15 YouTubers that I subscribed to growing up. And you probably don't even know who he is. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I've literally never heard of anyone else who watches him. I've brought him up before, and I've never even seen him on any other kind of anywhere, really, to be honest. Maybe I should go look for it, but no, he definitely deserves the A tier. Legendary dude. Played, if you don't know who he is, he basically just was a very popular military simulator YouTuber, which just means he played like the super realistic military games, not like obviously Call of Duty, but just like way more intense. Like, if you know what Arma is, he played even more realistic versions of that. And this was back again when it wasn't popular, and you might notice I say that a lot because a lot of these YouTubers specialized in these fields, and that's what he was known for. He was known for Project Reality, one of the original military sim games, and he was awesome, bro. I was obsessed with him for such a long time, and he branched out and he got into a lot of other stuff now. But definitely, one of my OGs deserves that top spot up there. So I had to give him the A tier. On to the next, I think of Germa985. Now, this one is a lot newer to me, surprisingly. I unfortunately didn't have the pleasure of watching him as a kid, but not even that long ago. It was a couple years ago. I want to say maybe I think maybe a year and a half. Probably a year and a half, somewhere around there. And I just binged watched him, man. Binged watched all of his awesome videos, all of his classics, everything. Just the compilation videos, right? Like, if you look him up, you'll find plenty of compilations of his funniest moments. He just seems like the most, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, he was made to entertain, right? Like, you can tell when somebody is really good at what they do or if they just do it for a job, right? Like, for example, comedians. Not every single comedian was meant to be a comedian. You can kind of tell. But Germa, is one of those people for sure. Classic for sure. OG, again, another OG. I'm sure you know who he is. If you don't, you have to check him out. At least one of his videos, if not his compilations. On to the next, Dashi. Can't forget Dashi. Again, I wouldn't say OG. He got really popular right after Grand Theft Auto blew up. But regardless, he is you could say like he is one of the pioneers of the later era. He's not necessarily an OG in terms of, well, okay, that's not true. He was an OG. He was making videos, but he didn't really blow up until 2013. And that was when I found him. I didn't watch his like horror video game stuff. I watched a lot of his Grand Theft Auto stuff. Those were my favorites. So this day, I always go back, like every 6 months or so, I might go back and rewatch his GTA videos and just his Super Mario Maker, a little bit of those. But yeah, the only reason why I wouldn't put him in S is just because I feel like I only ever really appreciated his prime, I guess you could say, and that might make me sound like a bad person, but I don't know, I didn't really vibe all that well after the fact. Like, it seemed like after the whole GTA era fell off, after the skits, right? Once he stopped doing skits, like actually stopped doing skits, that was when I kind of lost interest. And so he definitely deserves the A tier though. Great guy. I understand that he has a lot more to him, and so obviously he's popular for a reason. But yeah, next person I think of is Aviator Games. Now this one, I would be really surprised if people know who this guy is. I don't even know if he makes videos anymore. I'd have to look it up to see if he still makes videos. But back when Sims was really popular, especially Sims 4, he was my man. He was the guy that I would watch all the time. I was obsessed with his just endless playlists, and like, I guess you could say, I don't even know, like he would just come up with a story, like some brand new story. He'd come up with like the deepest backstories. He did Minecraft roleplay. Like, it was so interesting. He made you kind of imagine and believe in what he was doing or playing, right? Like, he didn't just play The Sims. No, he would kind of delve deeper into it, and he was awesome, man. He just made it really interesting, I guess. Definitely one of the first first YouTubers I ever subscribed to, if I can remember, at least. Gotta be up there with like top 25, right? But next person I think of, all right, you might get mad at me for this one, but I have to be honest. The specifically old, when I say this, EDP. Obviously, what he did was wrong, right? Nobody has to talk about it. We don't have to talk about who he is now. But his old stuff, right? His old stuff, when he was at his prime, when he was cool, when he wasn't a weirdo, I'm sorry, he was hilarious. He was one of the best. He was authentic. He didn't care. He told you what he thought. He was funny. He could crack jokes. You want to know who he reminds me of? He reminds me, if you know who Patrice O'Neal is, the comedian. He has that flair where he can say kind of absurd things, but make you think about it in a way where it doesn't sound so absurd, right? Like, he might say something ridiculous, but with the way in which he says it, you're like, oh yeah, he's kind of right. I kind of understand what he's trying to get at. He had that very like particular persuasiveness, more so like you relate in a way. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm glazing him a little bit too much, but I have to be honest, I gotta put him up there. I watched too much of him. I watched him every single day. Every day that he uploaded a video, I'd watch immediately. I would stop whatever I was doing and watch him. But yeah, on to the next person, Russian Badger. Now this one, man, this one was hard. This one was hard for me to put in the A tier, specifically because I feel like he kind of just gave up. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like he gave up, but I specifically put him in the A tier list because of his prime, more so than anything else. When he was making videos consistently, and when he was, I guess, when it was the most fun for him, if you will, or when it was the most interesting, like when he was just like throwing out ideas, making videos, right? Like every other couple of months, that was when he was at his best. But then he just stopped, which is fine, right? Like, you don't have to continue to make videos, but I'm putting him in the A tier specifically because of his influence at that time, right? Around the Rainbow Six Siege era is when he really blew up. Next one I think of, and this is a really new one, but he absolutely deserves this spot. This dude cracks me up, bro. If you don't know who this guy is, please go watch him. Face IQ. He is the funniest, like, I don't even know how to explain it, because as soon as you watch him, you're immediately going to think it's a character, because that's exactly what I thought when I first watched this guy. What he's most known for is his reactions to like the cut videos, the Nectar videos, where they talk about attractiveness, right? He's all about the looks maxing community. He knows every little detail. He knows the orbital asymmetry, whatever it's called. I don't even know, but he knows all about that stuff. And so he watches these videos and he reacts to them but he is extremely brutally honest. So he will be as mean as possible if he genuinely thinks that way about a person. So if he thinks somebody's ugly, he will just straight up say it. And I'm not necessarily saying it's okay, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's cool that he's just straight up calling people ugly, but I'm sorry, it's funny. It's hilarious. Just his infliction and the way that he goes about things, man, he cracks me up. But next, gotta go with Jolums, another very new YouTuber that I only just found, I think a year ago, maybe about a year ago. And basically, he is the only YouTuber that I know that does the 100%, right? Where you basically just 100% a game, do every single thing and get every single trophy within that game. He is the only one who actually makes it entertaining to watch, because I have tried my hardest, dude, to watch other YouTubers who do the 100%, like, oh, I'm 100%ing Hitman, I'm 100%ing GTA. But then their videos are like an hour plus long, and the beginning of the video is them explaining the entire lineage of every single employee that's ever worked at the company of the game. And it's boring. It's like, bruh, I'm trying to watch you play the game. If I'm watching this, it's because I know what the game already is. I just want to watch you complete it and do everything. So Jolums is literally the only one who does that. He starts the video, hey, what's up, guys? We're just going to do this. Boom, puts you into the video, or puts you into the game, immediately starts it. All right, cool. This is the first trophy we're getting. This is the second trophy. This is the third trophy. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. And he just, like, he has some level of understanding that if you're watching the video, it's more than likely because you already know what the damn game is. Sorry, I had to go on a rant because it pisses me off. I try to watch those videos and I can't. So he absolutely deserves that spot. He is a solid dude. I love his content. But anyways, on to the next. The old Blasphemous HD. Man, I miss him. I don't know. I don't understand why some of the best YouTubers have to end up being jerks, because that's exactly what happened with him. He, at his prime, was hilarious. You felt like you were listening to your best friend. You felt like you were sitting on the couch, just having a good time, vibing. And then, once he started getting that money, once he started getting that fame, failed. Instantly went down, started becoming a jerk, treating people badly. And then that's why he fell off, was because his content got garbage. Nobody wanted to hang out with him. But man, when he was at his prime, up there, man. I could put him in S tier, but personally, I think I'd keep him in the A tier. But the next person I think of is Cartnarks. Definitely deserve the A tier for Cartnarks, just because of what they're doing for the community. Not even because of their entertainment on YouTube and whatnot. No, I'm just kidding. He definitely deserves the spot for the sake of the entertainment. But you could say that he is absolutely doing things for the community, and people genuinely think about putting their carts back now if you happen to leave it out, right? You might not leave it out the same way you would have because you watched one of his videos. And so he definitely deserves this spot, just because he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to do anything. He lets the other person make themselves look stupid, which is one of the best ways to troll people, is by letting themselves troll themselves, basically, which is exactly what he does. All he does is walk up to people and say, hey, can you put your cart back, please? And instantly, they start freaking out. I don't need to do that. I pay my taxes. They can do that. They start giving every excuse that you could think of. And all he has to do is just say, please put your cart back. Please put your cart back, lazy bones, right? Definitely deserves that A spot. Love the dude. On to the B tier. And so for these, it's Strawberry Park, probably one of the only reaction channels that I feel isn't trying to just make a buck, I guess. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obviously, they're trying to make a video and whatnot, but they're themselves. You can tell when you watch them and when they react to a video, or when they just do kind of really any kind of content, they're just being themselves, and they happen to be recording, which is respectable, right? Next person I think of, Ed Bassmaster. One of the only prank channels that does it the right way, right? You think of prank channels and you think of just jerks and weirdos who are trying to get popular, trying to get as many views as possible. But Ed Bassmaster does it the right way. Next person I think of, Swoozy. man, when he was at his prime, had to be up there. One of, if not the most popular animators for sure. His stories were amazing. He's a great storyteller. It's just interesting, like, you know, obviously animation in of itself, even if the story wasn't all that interesting, I would still end up watching it just because I love to see his drawings and whatnot. But no, he was one of those guys, man, where he just had a story after a story after a story, and he could just go on and on and on. And he was a character, man. He's a character for sure. You could tell how he got himself into these stories, right? Just based upon his personality. But last but not least, I have to give the whole community of trolling 5M, or roleplay trolling, basically, which is just YouTubers who go into GTA role-playing servers and they troll the people in those servers. And the reason why I'm making it an entire community is because there are way too many. I can't put every single role-playing troll YouTuber in here. Like, for example, you think of More Crown, you think of Cheeto Head, you think of Bub Games, David Drops, etc, right? There literally is too many. I could go on forever. But man, all of them, every single one of them deserves this spot. But that's all for the B tier. On to the C tier. Gotta give it to Angry Grandpa. Was at some point one of the funniest YouTubers I was watching consecutively, but it got to a point, man, where you could tell he just wasn't in it for the right reasons, and he was honestly just milking his grandpa, bro. It really does make me sad to think about it. He still deserved a spot on this list just because of the era that he was in, around that Vine era, right? He used to upload Vines every now and then, but even his YouTube videos were really funny. Angry Grandpa was the star, right? As soon as Angry Grandpa passed away, unfortunately, everything just went downhill. He was not, you know, the guy himself. I don't even remember what his name was. The actual guy himself wasn't all that cool of a person, and you could tell with all the drama and whatnot. But regardless, his prime made him who he was, and that he deserved this spot. Next person I think of is Juice Man, aka Body Bag. Now this one, there's no way that people are gonna know who this is, simply because for as long as I remember, he was only popular for as long as NBA 2K16 was popular. As soon as NBA 2K16 stopped being popular, he also stopped being popular, unfortunately. I thought he was awesome. He was one of the most interesting 2K YouTubers at the time to watch, because he actually put effort into his 2K videos. He wouldn't just upload some random video and just playing the game, right? Like it wasn't that simple. No, he kind of give like maybe a story or some, like you kind of think of Stax Montana almost, right? But he would also do it in his own unique way. He had story, he had a little bit more pizzazz, he made it more interesting, he made it believable, right? And you gotta remember, I'm a kid when I'm watching this. I'm 12 years old, and so to me this is awesome. He's giving me this story, like, and he's incorporating the game into it, and I'm believing it. Like, I was so stupid as a kid, dude. I literally thought that 2K made it to where you could just walk around the city, and the whole time he's playing GTA 4, bro. He literally made like a little cutscene, if you will, of him in GTA 4, and then added it into the story of his character for 2K. But me being a stupid kid, I thought that 2K actually had the ability for you to walk around, bro. But no, Juice Man, he was awesome, bro. He was cool. He was just a cool, vibrant personality. One of the best for sure. I wish he was more popular. I really do. But anyways, on to the next. Vintage Beef. Haven't heard that name in forever, bro. If you know who this guy is, he was one of the coolest, I want to say was like the guy who did like things that you wouldn't think of in Minecraft, so to speak, right? Or at least maybe when it wasn't as popular, right? Because what I remember Minecraft being really popular for was majority of the same things. But when I found him, he was doing like completely different stuff. He was doing things that not a lot of other people were doing at the time. Like I remember, I think it was a mod pack. I hope I'm remembering it correctly. It's Life in the Woods? Something like that. I wish I could remember. But he had this mod pack that he would play, and it got me unbelievably obsessed with mods. I remember begging my mom on my hands and knees. I didn't even know what I was talking about, but for some reason, I thought I could get mods on my PlayStation 3 from Minecraft. That's how obsessed he had me with that playlist, specifically with that whole just everything about that mod pack was awesome. But man, I loved him, man. He was awesome. All right, so I have to couple these two together just because they're, for me, I could say the same thing about both of them. And you're probably gonna get upset at me, but I gotta be honest. I have to put Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. Don't get me wrong. When I was a kid, bro, when I was 10, 11 years old, I thought Jacksepticeye was the coolest, right? And he obviously catered to a bit of a younger audience, right? To the preteens and to the maybe teenagers. And that was what he was known for such a long time. But as soon as I got older, like even a little bit older, like 2 years, right? Like once I hit like 13, immediately I was just like, it's just not it anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know. It's because he said this before. He said that a lot of his fans or supporters, whatever you want to call it, they kind of grew out of it, and that's more so why. But I don't know. I don't know if it was just the change in his life or what. But when he was at his peak, I thought he was the coolest, and then that was it, really. Like, it just seemed like that was kind of it. That was all he really was known for, in my head at least. And then same thing with Markiplier, right? I tried. I really tried to get into Markiplier, like multiple times, like across my entire life. Like at every, like as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, like I tried to get into him. And I don't know. It never really clicked with me. He never really seemed to be, I don't know. He kind of just did the same thing I feel like a lot of his style of YouTubers did, like basically Jacksepticeye. Like, I feel like if I watched a Markiplier video and then I watched a Jacksepticeye video, I wouldn't honestly be able to say what was super different. Now, I will admit that I do think Markiplier's funnier. I do think he's funnier. I do think he's a little bit more goofy, that he has a little bit more pizzazz to him. But regardless, I gotta keep these two in the C spot. I'm sorry. But last but not least, I think of Pretty Boy Fredo. Man, and again, very similar to how I spoke of Juice Man and Swoozy. Right? They had the ability to tell stories. They had the ability to be entertaining in a way that was special, right? And of course you think of Pretty Boy Fredo when you think of 2K, right? You can't think of 2K and not think of Pretty Boy Fredo with all of his skits, with all of his just everything, right? But the reason why he's specifically in the C tier as opposed to higher is just because of the fall off, man. It seems like a lot of these YouTubers that are so great get so great for one reason, and then once that kind of falls apart, they don't really have a whole lot to them anymore. And I can't lie, he kind of adds into that. He was popular, don't get me wrong. He was popular for a really long time, but in my opinion, man, he never really rose past that. He never really blew up in a way that I feel like was more, really. He kind of just was, for me, the 2K YouTuber I thought was cool, right? Like, that's kind of ill, or his stories. But he had his time. He had his time for sure. And then after that, fell off. But yeah, on to the D tier. First on the D tier has to be FaZe. Man, it breaks my heart. It really does. But I have to be honest, dude. They fumbled quite possibly the greatest accomplishments you could have, not just as a group, but as a people, bro. When they were FaZe, real FaZe, not whatever FaZe was, past the point of their fame, basically. When they were in their prime, when they were actually FaZe, it was legendary. Everybody knew, you knew immediately who it was, you knew what they were known for, you could name off the people off the rip, but it seemed like it just immediately got to their head. Immediately. It took no time whatsoever. Like, I still remember they were one of the first gaming groups that transitioned into the business side of YouTube, right? Like, when that was becoming popular, so you basically think of Logan Paul, you think of Jake Paul, that era, as soon as it became popular to get all into the investors, into the business, into the this, that, and the third, and look, don't get me wrong, everybody wants money, everybody wants their back, and so absolutely do all you can to get your money, to get what you know you deserve, but To what extent is the money worth if you're taking away everything you're known for? Next on my list, this one, bro, I can already hear. I can already hear everything everyone's going to say, but I can't lie. Rad Brad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can get upset at me. You can yell at me. You can say I'm stupid. But even as a kid, right? Because I think this way now. But even as a kid, I thought he was overrated. He was annoying. I'm sorry. But man, I will never forget trying to look up walkthroughs. I would try to look up walkthroughs on any game, any newer game that you could think of. First video that would pop up, the Rad Brad. So I'd go and I'd watch it. And this dude plays like he's never played a video game before. Don't get me wrong. The guy as a person was cool, right? You could clearly tell this is just a normal dude playing video games. That's it. He's one of the OGs. He was known for always getting the newest copies of the newest games. He was one of the first, right? He would be the first person to upload a new game. And so you'd obviously want to watch him, but it would infuriate me. It would drive me insane trying to watch him. But anyways, next on my list, again, people are going to freak out. Corey Kenshin. I've said this before. I have other videos talking about him before. I've mentioned this. I don't get it. I don't get it, bro. He doesn't do anything other than what every single other horror video game YouTuber does. He doesn't make it special. He cracks a couple jokes. He's like maybe a little goofy. Maybe he has a little bit of a gimmick to him, maybe, right? He has like a bit of personality. And yeah, I've used those reasons for a lot of the other YouTubers I speak about in this video, but you know who I'm talking about when I speak about them and what they're known for. When you think of Corey Kenshin, the first thing I think of is just horror video games and his manga, right? That's it. That's it. And he doesn't even continue. He won't even finish the game most of the time. 99% of the time, he starts a game, takes a 6-month break, his entire audience glazes him and tells everybody, oh, you just don't understand. Oh, he's allowed to do whatever he wants. And it's like, yeah, no duh, bro. He can do whatever he wants. But why does he have to come across as if everything is just out of his control? But anyways, I don't want to make this video 2 hours long. It's already way too long as is, I'm sure, if you're even still watching. But anyways, on to the next person, Sean Ryan. And this one's going to be odd. This one I know for a fact people are not going to know, or rather won't have a exact assumption. But this one is specifically for one reason and one reason only, dude. This guy is the reason why you see those corny, garbage military YouTube short videos all the time. He is the one who gave these people a platform to be the cringiest, most like they think they're James Bond, bro. And so Sean Ryan will sit there and just let them talk. Let them tell the most absurd stories in the world. And they genuinely believe that they're fooling people, bro. And so you'll go on YouTube Shorts and you'll see some random dude you've never heard of talking about Osama bin Laden for the 1,000th time, right? Because every single military guy apparently killed Osama bin Laden. And so they'll be on there talking about, oh yeah, me and the Delta Force Recon Squad 3949, we had 57 grenades in a Toyota truck, and we just kept throwing 50 grenades and the bombs were coming down and we were just sitting there and the dirt was coming up. Like, bro, dog, it's embarrassing. But anyways, finally, on to the F tier, my favorite tier. Now, I will argue until the end of time for this tier list. I care more about my F tier list than I do my S tier list. And I start with PewDiePie. Yup, absolutely. And no, I'm not saying that to be edgy. No, I'm not saying that because I want to rage bait or I want to engagement bait or whatever. I genuinely believe this guy is the most overrated YouTuber, more overrated than Mr. Beast, way too overrated, the most overrated YouTuber of all time, bro. It literally just seems like every single 9 and 10-year-old on planet Earth was obsessed with this guy because he would not calm down. And look, that might be an extremely ironic and hypocritical take of mine, but the reason why I'm putting him in the F tier is specifically because of his fame, rather than his content or his personality. Obviously, as a person, right? As a person in of himself, he's cool. There's nothing wrong with him. I don't hate the guy, but I hate the fact that this guy is what you think of when you think of the most popular YouTuber of all time. A dude who literally did every single stereotypical YouTuber thing back in 2012. Make funny noises, make funny faces, upload the same content, face cam, right? Like you name it, bro. Minecraft. Like literally he did the same exact things. There was nothing special about him. I could go on and on and on and on and on. And I have plenty more people on this list that I need to talk about. So anyways, on to the next. This one is going to be no surprise. Logan Paul and Jake Paul. And I'm going to couple current KSI in that group too, because they are the arbiters of everything wrong with YouTube. I fully put all of the blame. All of it. I can make a video about Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI, and everything wrong with them, but you would already know. You would already know what's wrong with them. You would already know exactly why I feel the way that I do about them. And so anyways, let's not waste any more time. Next person, bro. I'm about to have an aneurysm just thinking of this guy's name. Quebblecop. And I'm including his entire group in there, bro. He has to be the originator of YouTubers who just act like they're on Adderall for everything. Every single video, every minute within that video, you're gonna find constant screaming, constant yelling, constant noises, constant, oh my gosh, guys, I can't believe the Roblox Sonic monster invaded into GTA 5. And it took forever for other people, for the rest of the world, to realize, yeah, these guys are not who we think they are. Like, these guys are ridiculous. These guys don't care. These guys are everything wrong with YouTube. Anyways, man, on to the next one, I'm gonna add, basically, I know I keep doing it, but I have to add all of these into the same group just because they all are the same problem. And so I'm adding Pop the Balloon, except for Arlette. Arlette seems to be the only genuine one out of, I guess, that genre, right? She was the original, she was the OG of that. But anyways, I'm adding all of the Pop Balloons, Cut, so the entire channel of Cut, the entire channel of Jubilee, the entire channel of Dr. Daff, and Nectar. All of those channels have the exact same thing in mind, which is, how can we make the most fundamental human basic things content? The only ones that I genuinely can say that I have like a personal disdain for are these channels. And the reason being is because these channels quite literally are going to be the Amazon of YouTube. They are going to become the Walmart. They're going to become the Amazon. They're going to become the Target. They're going to become Nestle, right? The water brand. They are going to take over every single avenue of human life and turn it into content, right? They're gonna replace the trending tab, right? If you remember what the trending tab was, there was a reason why people hated it so much. There was a reason why it got removed, because the only people who were on there were corporations. That is exactly what's going to happen with these Jubilee, with these Nectar, with these Cut channels, bro. They are becoming the next Jimmy Kimmel, the next late night show, whatever you want to call it. They're going to become cable. And I've already made a video about this. YouTube is just going to turn into TV cable slot. This video is probably way too long. I don't even know how long it's going to be. I'm probably going to have to edit out a lot of stuff. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you have a good rest of your day.